Did you know that there is a path that leads from the east coast of the United States to the west, utilizing not the interstate system, but the back roads and dirt roads of America? Well, there is. It's called the Transamerica Trail, and those who take this road less traveled find themselves on an epic adventure that will change their lives. We share this, our experience, with you in hopes that you will see at least a small glimpse of the beauty that we found. This is our story. This is the Transamerica Trail series. We stayed the night here last night in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Saw the grandbabies last night, which was fantastic. Our oldest son lives here in Hot Springs, and we were able to spend a few hours with them. We got off the trail yesterday up north of Little Rock. So first things first this morning, we got to get on a highway and get back up to that north side of Little Rock so that we can get back on the Transamerica Trail. Guys, it's about 10:35 and we are back on the Transamerica Trail and we're headed west. We think that we're probably going to get through, we're going to get over into the very west part of Arkansas today, and then we'll be in position to push over into eastern Oklahoma tomorrow. Now, camping in this area looks like it's going to be pretty rough. There's pretty basic, I should say. There are a few campgrounds that are going to be coming up that we're going to explore and check out.
We were hoping for more options, but you have to get off the trail like 20 miles or something. So.
Yeah, to get to like a true campground where we think we're going to be stopping, which is at the end of Arkansas 2 and 3. There's not a whole lot of camping in that immediate area.
Hey Boomer, why are elevator jokes so good? Because they work on so many levels.
Yeah, so the other day when we were talking with Sam, he was talking about how the Transamerica Trail, in my own words, would be like an endurance sport. It's not something that you just wake up one day and decide to go do. You're going to have to plan and you're going to need to prepare, and one of the things that you're going to need to think about is your own physical endurance. Now, we're doing the Transamerica Trail in a Jeep. But even in the Jeep, there is a physical aspect to this. These roads are often rough, they're often bumpy, they're often turning. There's a mental fatigue that comes along with this because you have to be constantly navigating. It's not like you're getting on the highway and hey, I can almost mentally check out for the next half hour. That does not happen on this trail. You check out even for, half a minute and you can find yourself off
an 18-wheeler coming at you.
And because of the size of the trails,
on a random curve,
oncoming traffic is a much bigger risk than it is with other roads that you might take. I think that if you're going to do this, you need to think about that and decide, are you going to just take days where you're just going to stop and stay at a campground and just do nothing for a day or 2 or 3? Are you going to take some days off and maybe go stay in a hotel? Or do you feel like you can just get on and just go and just crank it out without any type of stops except for sleep? You got to figure out what's going to work best for you, and the only way that I know to figure that out is to do some shorter trips and kind of get a test run at it and see how you do mentally and physically in a short-term environment, so that you can begin to understand how you're going to plan, your long-term trips. All right, guys, so we finished up Arkansas track number 1, moved over into Arkansas track number 2, and we're actually making pretty good time today. Now, we figured that we would finish up Arkansas track number 2, and somewhere around between the transition between 2 and 3, we were going to need to find some camping. Looking at the map, in that area, there are a few rustic campgrounds we're looking at. We'll give them a try. That may be where we need to end up. We're down to the last 20 miles of Arkansas track number 2, and things have really slowed down. A good chunk of, I would say probably for the last 5 miles, we've been averaging about 10 miles an hour. That in comparison to the 20 plus that we've been averaging for the rest of the day. We're hoping that this section begins to free up a little bit and isn't quite a slow go, or it's going to interfere with our plans to try to get a little bit further down the trail. Yeah, so one of the cool things about traveling on the Transamerica Trail is that you're taking roads through the mountains, and people are used to driving on roads through the mountains, right? But typically these are highways or even interstates that come through the mountains. The Transamerica Trail roads are not those. When their trails go through the mountains, they go through the mountains. You're taking the forest trails that climb up one side and run along the ridge and come down the other side. It's a spectacular way to get a different aspect of the same mountains that even if you lived here and saw these every day, you don't see them like this every day. All right, guys, we're finally finishing Arkansas track number 2. Wow, the last 20 miles of this track have gone so slow. It feels like forever. Like we've been on the last 20 miles of this track for almost 2 hours. Guys, so about 20 miles into Arkansas track number 3, the trail will take you on to State Highway.
I'm sorry. He's like right on my arm.
He's on your leg now.
All right, guys, so about 20 miles into Arkansas track number 3, the trail will take you out onto State Highway 23. And you're only on it for a short distance, but then you go back into the mountain trails. And right as soon as we took that, we ran into another road closing. So we're having to do a workaround, and we're working our way down. We're going to end up going down a good bit this time to get around. That's okay. But it is going to affect where we end up staying. So I guess it's a blessing in disguise, because we found what appears to be a pretty nice campground down around Mulberry. All right, guys, good morning. This is day 23 of our Transamerica Trail series, and we are headed out to finish up Arkansas this morning and move over into Oklahoma. Now, when we got over to the Arkansas track number 3 yesterday, got about 20 miles into that track, we hit a road closure and had to do a workaround. That workaround took us to Alma, Arkansas, which is where we are right now, in Alma, Arkansas. We stopped at a place called Clear Creek Campground. That's where we're at right now. We're packed up. We're just about ready to go. Now, Tiffany and I grew up in Oklahoma City, and in that area, one of the big local spots is a place called Brahms. That's where we're headed right now, because this is the easternmost Brahms that we know of. It's not just here between Fort Smith and Fayetteville in Arkansas. Fantastic burgers, ice cream, breakfast. All right, guys, so we're back on the Transamerica Trail this morning. We stayed in Alma last night, at the Clear Creek Campground. We got some breakfast there at Brahms in Alma before we left, which was always nice to be able to do. Then we got on the road, came about 10 miles north, and ended up here in Mountainburg, Arkansas, where we've been able to get back on the Transamerica Trail right at about 9 o'clock this morning. So we're on track, moving the right direction. We've had some cloud cover that's rolled in. Our weather girl is telling us that we've got storms headed our way, but hopefully we won't see those until later in the day. You're coming in on the main roads and you can see there's the mountain over here and there's the mountain over there. When you're on the main roads, that's kind of the way it goes. It goes in between those mountains. But when you're on the TAT, you're driving on those mountains. We've gained like 700 feet worth of elevation in just about 3 minutes. So that'll tell you how steep the roads were coming in. All right, guys, so we finished Arkansas track number 3 and we're starting Arkansas track number 4. That means we have less than 50 miles left in the state of Arkansas. With the passing from the white gravel road to the red dirt road, we've now entered into Oklahoma. And that's kind of a big deal for us. Tiffany and I are both from Oklahoma. Neither of us were born in Oklahoma, and we've lived in Florida now for 22 years, but we grew up in Oklahoma, and this is where the majority of our family is, and that's where we met, was in Oklahoma. And so Oklahoma is always going to have a special place in our hearts.
Boomer Sooner!
And so it's kind of a big deal for us to cross back into the Sooner State. So we've spent a good deal of time on these small country roads. They're paved, but they're narrow, and oh man, and they're rough. They're really wavy, so you're gonna move it all around. And then we got one where it had a little bit of a like a left turn juke type of a deal, and there were trees overgrown. And right as we started into that, we realized that there was a big box truck.
Oh, like that quick.
And he was coming. He was like in the middle of the road.
He went boom.
And oh my goodness, we had a real scare there.
Into the ditch. Fortunately, it wasn't a deep ditch.
Man, we hadn't been run off the road since West Virginia. But yikes! One thing when you cross over from Arkansas into Oklahoma, unlike the other states that we've been through so far, when you cross over into Oklahoma, you know that something has changed. I mean, literally from the state line. Yeah! Yeah! Fishtailing around that corner. Yikes.
It was fun.
Literally, as soon as you reach the state line in Oklahoma, you can tell a difference in the color of the road. And it's just because the Oklahoma clay, the red clay, is evident everywhere, and even when it's got the pea gravel or the white rock onto the roads with it, you can still see the shades of red to it. Yeah, so this morning we came across another group of guys that were riding the Tat. 4 young guys, probably mid-20s, and they're riding together. They're hoping to make it all the way to the end of the Tat. So
On their adventure bikes.
yeah, so they're working their adventure bikes. We've lost touch with Giuseppe and Anthony. Last we heard, they were in Arkansas and they were still trying to work their way through the Ozarks. Those are the 2 guys on the adventure bikes that we met a few days ago. They've really had a difficult time the last few days. And last I'd heard, Anthony had lost his cell phone. I think it might have been in a river crossing. And so they ended up backtracking to try to get another cell phone. And
Giuseppe's helmet.
And Giuseppe's helmet was not working. He couldn't get his visor to open up anymore. So anytime that he needed to adjust his glasses or take them on or off or whatever, he had to remove his helmet. Obviously not ideal. So they were trying to get those 2 things fixed. And then last I heard, they were working into Ozarks, which would be in northwest Arkansas. So they're probably a full day or maybe even a day and a half behind us. So anyways, it's cool to have some other guys going on the trail here with us. We're not all necessarily riding together, but we keep running into each other. This is the 3rd time we've seen the 4 guys riding together, and I hope we continue to see them along the way. It's kind of cool. All right, well, we're still in Oklahoma 1, but we're going to have to make a detour here. We're coming up on Bartlesville, and there's a train that's just like completely stopped over the track, so we can't do that. We're just going to have to work a bypass. That's okay. I mean, we're less than 10 miles from our campground for tonight, which is right off of the Tat. So
It's a long train in East
we'll do a
Canada.
workaround. This is a very long train. Not sure how far we're going to have to go to get past the train, but once we can get past the train, on the other side of this train, it's like I said, it's just a short distance to Bartlesville and our campground, which is just north of Bartlesville.
Come on, kitty baby.
Join us next time as we move across the great state of Oklahoma and explore a landscape completely different than anything we've seen so far on this Transamerica Trail. You might be surprised to see what we saw as we continue on this epic journey west.